Okay, I'm posting this video up as a correction to my previous one, because in that previous one I cited a mid-2000s study which stated that if a vehicle traveled 1,000 miles, it would do $1 of maintenance damage, essentially, to the road system. And that if a bicycle and its rider weighed 350 pounds, then it would need to go 17 million miles to do the same amount of damage. Those proportions are, to my understanding, still accurate. What's wrong is the dollar figure. That was actually presented as a for the sake of argument figure, so I went out and found the actual one. This one I found in an Urban Institute study on 2020 highway and road expenditures, which found that the actual figure is $70.30 per 1,000 miles. Now, for our purposes, we're going to cut that a couple of times. So first off, 50 to 60% of that on average is going to be capital expenditure, so depreciation. Because we're just talking about road maintenance, we're going to take that out of the equation. From there, the federal government picks up a quarter of that, and then of the remainder, the state's going to pick up 60% as well. So what we're left with is, on a maintenance basis for cities and other localities, $8.44 per 1,000 miles. So I made an error. It was to substantially understate how much we could save. Now, to start into the back of the napkin math, I pulled a few other figures. And I am going to note that I'm making some limiting assumptions that are, I believe, on balance, conservative. So first off, population of Charlotte proper, a little under 900,000 people. Population of the Charlotte Metro, 2.8 million. So we're going to pretend that the other 1.9 million never use Charlotte's road system ever. We're going to make another assumption by saying that the other 900,000 they don't use other roads, but on balance, I feel that's conservative. Next, 89% of Charlotte commutes by car. Another limiting assumption, that is not the only use that you're going to have for a car, but we're going to take that 11% and we're going to exclude them as well. Now, the average Charlottean is going to drive, this is again according to the Charlotte Observer, 13,400 miles about. It's a little bit lower. I have the exact figure in an Excel spreadsheet. So we take the population of Charlotte proper, 89%, and that figure, multiply them all together, and then multiply them by 844, and we get to a projected maintenance cost of about $90 million. So what would happen if we could convert a percentage of those miles to bicycles? Well, we would save $900,000 every single year. Now, for reasons of sanity, I bumped this up against the Charlotte Comprehensive Annual Financial Report. And the figure that we have in 2023, which is reflective of the average, you can track that against the statistical section, is 78 million, about. Now, before somebody checks me on this, that figure does not include depreciation. There's a reconciliation after the statement of activities which explains that capital assets are not included because they're not considered to be financial funds. The figure that they report there ties out to total assets in Note 4F, where you're going to find the depreciation costs. And actually, if you go ahead and compare depreciation and maintenance, that 60% capital split is more like 50-50 in Charlotte. But if we reduce that proportionally to the 78, we still wind up with savings of $785,000 a year. So, okay, Sustain Charlotte is asking for an additional $6 million in funding this year. So if we got that 1%, then this would pay itself back in 8 years. So, understanding the impact of that, the city of Charlotte believes that the useful life of road infrastructure is 40 years. So what we're saying then, using that number, is that the $6 million this year, if it can achieve a 1% increase in bicycle usage, or 1% diversion, it would pay for itself 5 times over the course of its life in saved maintenance costs. Money that property tax payers here in Charlotte don't have to pay for that. Even if you start tinkering with that 1% figure, this is a slam dunk of an investment. So just to reiterate, yes, this is a correction. It is a correction that severely understated how much we could save. That is why I signed this petition. That's why I think you should too. Thanks, and see you next time.